Good afternoon, delegates. The House will now come to order. Today we're International Monetary Fund Committee. We'll begin this session with a roll call. Dear delegates, you are reminded, when your country is called, please raise your placards up high. We'll begin in alphabetical order. Australia is first. Australia.
The delegation of Australia present.
Brazil.
The delegate of Brazil is present in Rome.
China.
The delegation of China present.
India.
The delegation of India is present.
Iran.
The delegate of Iran is present.
Morocco.
Present vote.
Ukraine.
Present vote.
Republic of Korea.
Present vote.
Russian Federation.
Present.
Saudi Arabia.
The delegation of Saudi Arabia is present.
Tajikistan.
Tajikistan is present.
Turkey.
Present vote.
United States.
The delegate of the United States is present.
Any delegates which did not hear their name called, please raise your placards now. Okay. We're now going to open the speakers list using chair's discretion. We'll be starting the speakers list to debate which topic should be the topic of the conference today. Delegates wishing to speak on either topic of globalizing cryptocurrency or creating a global free trade zone, please raise your placard high now.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Today, both topics are the most important, which can affect every country in the world. But we think that second topic, creating one global free trade zone, unfortunately is impossible because countries differ from each other, starting with their economy and ending with their structure. Even now, in free trade between countries, there are countries that suffer heavily from free trade, and there are situations of deciding to withdraw. An example is Brexit. What about legalizing of cryptocurrency? We can legally and safely use it. Why not? So, let's legalize cryptocurrency on international level and have such laws with the regulations that allow legally and safely use it.
Thank you, Delegate of Turkey. Delegate of Russian Federation, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
Almost all government issues are because of weak economy. If the economic position of the country is critical, then taxes will be higher. Higher taxes lead to higher prices. As the practice shows, this process makes the population discontent and it will be a cause for a war. The delegate of Russia now people create new type of money, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. If we legalize it to the country, what kind of impact will it have to banks, finances, and economy? The delegate of Russian Federation thinks that this topic is very important that must be discussed. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Russian Federation. Now, Delegate of Ukraine, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
Good afternoon, honorable delegates and chairs. Today, I want to talk about the liberalizing of cryptocurrency because it's a global phenomenon of problem, and when still people didn't understand about it, but most people, governments, banks, and big companies are aware of its importance. Nowadays, in 2008, you will have a hard time who don't know about it, and big companies, banks, and all of this will work with it.
Thank you, Delegate of Ukraine. Now, Delegate of Morocco, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
Good afternoon, honorable delegates. Today, I will not tell you why we should not discuss the topic one global free trade zone, but I will tell you, however, why we should discuss the topic legalizing cryptocurrency. Bitcoin can interrupt the ability of central banks to take control over the economy. So, our country, along with other several countries, already face this problem. If you want not to lose the control after your economy and save your economy, we must take control of Bitcoin. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Morocco. Delegate of China, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
So, good afternoon, dear delegate. So, I choose the topic A, legalizing of cryptocurrency, because it's an international issue about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency and worldwide payment system. It's the first decentralized digital currency as a system works without a central bank or single administrator. and Bitcoin are worth hundreds of billions of dollars. And why I will not choose the topic B? Because every country has own sovereignty, and if the free trade zone will be created, then we will have a bad consequences. Thanks for attention.
Thank you, the delegate of China. Are there any points or motions on the floor at this time? Delegate of the United States.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The United States motions to set topic of legalizing of cryptocurrency in this conference.
Thank you, the delegate of the United States. Are there any other points or motions on the floor at this time? The delegate of the Republic of Korea.
Creating of the global free trade zone to choose. Yes.
Now that we have two motions on the floor, we're going to move to the voting procedure on both of these topics. Please keep in mind, 7 votes are needed to pass a motion. The delegates in favor of passing a motion on the topic of United States that proposed the topic of legalizing cryptocurrency for today's conference, please raise your placard. The delegates wishing to vote on the topic of creating global free trade zone, please raise your placard. Seeing that the majority of the delegates chose the topic of legalizing cryptocurrency, this will be the topic for today's conference. Are there any other points or motions on the floor at this time? The delegate of Brazil.
As a delegation of Brazil's motion for a 7 minutes moderated caucus with 45 seconds speaking time per delegate.
Are there any points or motions on the floor? Delegate of India.
Delegation of India motions for 10 minutes of moderated caucus with 30 seconds of speaking time for the topic legalizing cryptocurrency.
Noted. Delegates supporting the motion of Brazil, please raise your placards up high. We are now going to move into the moderated caucus with the 7 minute and 45 second speaking time. Delegates wishing to speak, please raise your placard. Delegate of Republic of Korea, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
Thank you. The delegation of South Korea, glad to see all of you. And cryptocurrency entered to South Korea unnoticed. And it was in 2004. Takeno was the first kind of the cryptocurrency in South Korea. It was used only by gamers. No one talked about it. But now, the most talked themes are nuclear problem of North Korea and legalizing cryptocurrency. Why I said it? Because cryptocurrency is a problem and we should talk about it. That's all.
Thank you to the delegate of the Republic of Korea. Are there any other delegates wishing to speak? Delegate of Turkey, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
Okay. Turkey is for legalizing cryptocurrencies and in every way tries to prepare a legal ground for its legalization. So cryptocurrencies may contribute to financial stability. And also the President of Central Bank of Turkey optimistically said that we are actively monitoring cryptocurrencies. And we are sure that cryptocurrencies will positively influence for other countries too. In addition, we want to say that we should control fraudulent operations. We want, like the United States, to regulate cryptocurrencies. Recently, 2 months ago, the United States Congress passed the Bill S-1241, which obliges holders of cryptocurrencies to report. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, delegate of Turkey. Are there any delegates wishing to speak? Please raise your placards. Delegate of Brazil, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The author of the report was a researcher of the Central Bank of Brazil, Cesar Rodriguez. On the 18th page of the report, he said that Brazil should not now regulate Bitcoin, arguing that the local digital currency market is not sufficiently developed for this. Brazil chose not to take any action at this time because of the low development of the regional blockbuster market. Brazilian regulators say they were not interested in Bitcoin because regulation, in their opinion, means approval. They also believe that the technology is currently in the early stage and does not pose a risk to the financial system. On the 5 largest Brazilian banks, 2 are clearly against Bitcoin and close accounts with suspicion of operations with cryptocurrency. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Delegate of Brazil. Delegate of Ukraine. You may not have the floor.
What's a cryptocurrency? It's a 21st century's unicorn or the money of the future. Today, cryptocurrencies have become a phenomenon, global problem in the world. It has pluses and minuses, but I would say about pluses because with it, with the cryptocurrency, we can make our economies higher. For example, easy access. Cryptocurrency is available to the general public, and it's a very quick and easy payment. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Ukraine. Now the Delegate of Saudi Arabia, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
Dear Presidents, the delegation of Saudi Arabia respects the invention of cryptocurrency and support it, but Bitcoin is not mature enough and to warrant regulation. We believe that cryptocurrency is still in its infancy and needs to be developed and grown. So currently, we have to say no to legalizing, as there is a lot of work to be done on it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Delegate of Saudi Arabia. Delegate of the United States, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Good day, dear Honorable Delegates. Today, we're discussing one of the most important things, cryptocurrency Bitcoin. So, the delegate of the United States of America believe that cryptocurrency is actual problem of the 21st century. This is a new generation of decentralized digital currency created and operating only on the internet. It is not controlled by anybody. The currency issues occur through the work of millions of computers around the world using a program for calculating mathematical algorithms. This is the essence of Bitcoin. So, thank you for your attention. The delegate of the United States yield time to the chair.
Thank you, Delegate of the United States. Delegate of India, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
Okay. Namaste, dear delegates. The delegation of India thinks that Bitcoin, if we legalize Bitcoin, it will decrease the level of criminal in the world, because when we have a cash in the street, in the dark time, there are a lot of burglars that could steal the money, but if we have a Bitcoin in the computer, it's more safety and it's more safety for our lives and for our cash and economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of India. Delegate of Russian Federation, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Bitcoin is a currency like no other. People create new type of money, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. As everything, Bitcoin has positive and negative impacts. But the delegate of Russian Federation thinks that it has more negative impacts. For example, by using cryptocurrencies like Bitcoins, people can make illegal transactions without giving any information about themselves. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoins are a way to empower such transactions across the globe, which will ultimately result in increased cybercrime.
Thank you, the Delegate of Russian Federation. The Delegate of China, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
So, government of China and organizing cryptocurrency because the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology has already conducted a number of research studies since the effort to prepare the infrastructure to use Bitcoin inside the country draws the attention because majority of the people for use Bitcoin, and it's much faster and easier to do deal between producer and supplier. Thanks for attention.
Thank you, Delegate of China. The Delegate of Iran, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
Delegate, the Ministry of Communications and Information Technology has already conducted a number of research studies. Since the effort to prepare the instructed to use Bitcoin inside the country, Iranians have taken the development of infrastructure seriously for a new currency. At the end, Iran will develop the Bitcoin inside the country. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, Delegate of Iran. Now we have time for one more speaker. The Delegate of Tajikistan, you may now have the floor for 45 seconds.
Thank you. Good afternoon, dear delegates. Cryptocurrencies are new digital payment tools that use cryptography to protect, and Bitcoin is the first virtual currency that is based on blockchain technology. It's a decentralized database which, unlike traditional databases, is protected from cyber attacks and from physical destruction. The currency is a new stage in the development of electronic currencies and the economy as a whole. This is the best way for fast and convenient transactions. Our present task is to decide the fate of this phenomenon, legalize or prohibit it. The position of my country is positive. We must legalize all the type of the currency in the most convenient form for the state and the citizens. And I urge other countries to legalize and recognize this kind of electronic currencies. Thank you.
Thank you to the delegate of Tajikistan. Now, the moderated caucus time is over. Are there any points or motions on the floor at this time? The delegate of India.
The delegation of India motions for 10 minutes of unmoderated caucus for the topic legalizing cryptocurrency.
Okay, noted. The delegate of Brazil.
The delegation of Brazil's motion for an unmoderated caucus for 15 minutes for a topic of legalizing cryptocurrency.
Now we'll move to the voting procedure of the timing of the unmoderated caucus. Those of you in favor of having unmoderated caucus for 10 minutes, please raise your pocket up high. Those of you in favor of having unmoderated caucus for 15 minutes, please raise your pocket up high. Okay. Now we're moving to the unmoderated caucus with 15 minutes time.
Remember that so the delegation of Saudi Arabia believes that cryptocurrency is not valid enough, is not made for enough. So it doesn't have centralized control and so
It can be like benefit also, but I agree with you. And by North Korea was organized one commission and to analyze Bitcoin.
The delegation of Brazil believes that it has a lot of disadvantages.
Yes, that's why we think it shouldn't be legalized. Yes. And we're going to write some resolutions
Right now, dollar is controlled by the United States of America, right? Yeah. So if it's controlled by the United States of America, in any moment, the president or the Congress of the United States of America can change the value of the dollar can go high and down. It depends on one country, and one country controls whole world. That's the reason why I love Bitcoin. It's just.
And do you know that, for example, tomorrow the money can disappear? For example,
Dollar also
it's on the internet. It's virtual currency.
That's a good.
Virtual currency.
Why should?
Okay, and signature. And
So?
okay, so you can. So just think that you can
Brazil. Put your signature.
Only to now it's not centralized. There's not some section to control it.
Maybe you will write your own resolution.
How?
Third one.
Can I have?
You can.
You can sell coins and like steal and buy gold.
Steal? They cannot steal this via blockchain technologies.
You will be our signatures and we will be yours.
No, I'm responsible.
You will be your sponsors of your own resolution.
The delegation of India. The delegation of India.
Disappear?
Why should we support you?
It's not negative impact to all of the credit or not.
Do you know a system of the cryptocurrency? It's very hard. The hackers cannot.
You can.
Yeah, but we don't have to legalize because it's a lot of disadvantages. Because the most disadvantage can be just for to all the people. See, all the Bolivian
You have
How many signatures do you have now?
This sentence, they
It's only 11,000. And you losing, for example, if you buy it for 100 bitcoins, you're already losing $50,000. And what about dollars?
But we can regulate it.
How?
Because of new technology.
But it's your major, it's not a fact. It's your major. No, it's not a fact. It's your major.
Easier to use dollar, not Bitcoin.
Every single second Bitcoin are changing.
Yes.
I'm saying that.
And also,
I'm saying that.
the Congress of the United States, your Congress of the United States,
Against it.
not against.
No,
They have a law. They have
Against the United States of America is against it.
not against. They have a law to control.
Yeah, cryptocurrency.
Control. They
Stop shouting.
Time's up, guys. Delegates. The time is up for the unmarried caucus.
our own cryptocurrency, our own. Bitcoin. No Bitcoin, but Bitcoin. In the law of United States Congress.
Time's up, guys. Delegates.
Control. We can control.
Time for the unmarried caucus. Are there any points or motions on the floor at this time? Delegate of India.
The delegation of India motions for extra unmoderated caucus for 7 minutes for the topic legalizing cryptocurrencies.
Seeing now none, we are now going to move into the unmoderated caucus with the extension time of 7 minutes.
Affirming about the global problems.
Brazil.
Good you are. Brazil,
Can you resign it? Sure.
Я хочу
write your country. We need extra You cannot. Hey, where is your prediction?
Show your resolution.
Coin, you can control.
Uncontrolled.
Deeply convinced that cryptocurrency is not mature enough to be legalized. Deeply convinced that we should highlight the problem that we are solving and then it's afraid of those who write our solution, which is the main part of the solution.
Without interest, not be instinct.
Let me try.
It is easy. Keeping in mind deeply disturbed.
Fully believing.
Deeply disturbed.
Fully believing. Honestly,
That the number or we can
Admins if they need to change it. Illegal. Yeah, illegal. It would be
actually, it can lose its value.
Cryptocurrency, yeah, cryptocurrency. You can route Bitcoin in the brackets.
What? Can we continue?
Yeah, we can, yeah. But if you need new, like, shit, I can. You wanna continue?
Crypto. No, the cryptocurrency has negative impacts. Has negative impacts.
Negative impact.
You need to write promoter here and operative here.
And we can do draws the attention.
We need to convince them
Yeah, exactly. It's not stable.
Time's up. Dear delegates, please take your seats. Are there any points or motions on the floor at this time? The delegate of India.
Delegation of India votes for 5 minutes of moderated caucus with 30 seconds of speaking time for the topic legalizing cryptocurrency.
Are there any other points or motions on the floor at this time? Seeing none, we are now going to move into the moderated caucus for 5 minutes with 30 seconds speaking time. Delegates wishing to speak, please raise your placards up high now. Turkey, United States, Saudi Arabia. Delegate of Turkey, you may now have the floor for 30 seconds.
Thank you. And now I want to say about controlling cryptocurrency. It can be controlled. I'll repeat that recently 2 months ago, United States Congress decided to control. Every transactions have a check. It will be fraudulent operations like spending transactions for terrorists. United States can spot who make transactions and obliges them to report. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Delegate of Turkey. Delegate of the United States, you now have the floor for 30 seconds.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Dear Honorable Delegate, the United States is deeply concerned about the situation in the world. Cryptocurrency is very famous now everywhere, but it has plenty of disadvantages. Bitcoins are volatile. For example, within a couple of days, the Bitcoin course changes a lot. Undoubtedly, with the large volatility of the market, the profit increases significantly, but at the same time, risks can become critical. Thank you. The delegate of the United States, your time to chair.
Thank you, Delegate of the United States. The Delegate of Saudi Arabia, you may now have the floor for 30 seconds.
Deeply concerned that legalizing cryptocurrency may have many problems with it, and knowing the statistics that show that during the 2015 years there was stolen $1 billion during cryptocurrency transactions, believes that this cryptocurrency is not mature enough. So we need to think about it, about centralized regulation of cryptocurrency transactions. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Delegate of Saudi Arabia. The Delegate of Brazil, you may now have the floor for 30 seconds.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The problem of excessive stable regulation and in some countries and obviously prohibitive policies for bitcoins today is quite urgent. Excess control in a sense the reverse side of its legalization. The problem of scaling the Bitcoin network has not yet been solved. Meanwhile, the network bandwidth has long been alarming, and the growth of commissions has made small transactions. Uneconomic and transactions with a decent commission are increasingly stuck on the network. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Delegate of Brazil. The Delegate of the Republic of Korea, you may now have the floor for 30 seconds.
Thank you, dear. Since 2015 until 2016, by our commission to analyze cryptocurrency was one thing, because it is the world discovered 215 speculations with Bitcoin. It's a big problem, and that's why the Parliament of South Korea is preparing the draft to forbid the Bitcoin.
Thank you, Delegate of the Republic of Korea. Are there any other delegates wishing to speak? Please raise your placards up high now. Delegate of Tajikistan, you may now have the floor for 30 seconds.
Cryptocurrency is a very convenient, fast, and free method of transaction. Why? Because it's using cryptographic methods and blockchain technology to protect database. It's free and convenient because the transaction without intermediaries. Intermediaries are banks, credit organizations, and the government, which took interest process from each transaction. Cryptocurrency is fully decentralized. This means that transaction will be conducted without intermediaries, directly from buyer to the recipient, and no taxation, no commissions from all transactions. Commission can be assigned by the owner of the transaction themselves. That's all.
Thank you, Delegate of Tajikistan. Are there any other delegates wishing to speak? Seeing none, are there any other points or motions on the floor at this time? Delegate of China and India.
Delegation of India motions for 5 minutes of unmoderated caucus for the topic legalizing cryptocurrency.
Delegate of Saudi Arabia.
I support the motion of the delegate of India.
Are there any other points or motions on the floor at this time? Seeing none, now we're going to move into the unmoderated caucus with overall time of 5 minutes.
India.
Are you going to listen? No. The delegation of Morocco, can we have a topic here? Okay.
We, the Republic of Korea, Saudi Arabia, and Russian Federation made up decision on writing the resolution of this problem. So, studied the structure of International Monetary Fund,
Well, we know that there is a section called Executive Board, which is control the world currency and transaction with the
delegation
real
of India.
currencies that exist nowadays.
Delegation of India.
So
Can I have transaction?
we
In English.
With our own
to legalize
Our
own idea values and rules. Idea values
ideas.
value and regulation
And
value and
regulation. Then I will know if I agree with your decision or not. Because my country doesn't support that cryptocurrency should be legalized. So if I will like your resolution, then I will support it. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
It's okay, it's okay.
I will see when you present if I would like it, then I will support it. Okay? When I agree with it.
We should be this type of technologies we should develop.
Because our country's economy always suffered from it, and it's has done a great impact on our economy, and we lost a lot of money. So that's why we don't agree with it. Okay?
Lost a lot of money.
We lost a lot of money because Bitcoin is not controlled by anyone. If
There's not only Bitcoin, there are Ethereum, altcoins, there are many types of currencies, not only Bitcoin.
I don't mind it. Every type of Bitcoin has its disadvantages, and that disadvantages affect on our economy. Disadvantages.
It's great. And
it's disadvantages. It's not stable. First of all, it's not stable. If it will be like stable, like for example, dollar, it's not stable. It's not stable, but its rise is not so high. You see, its rise is only
Bitcoin is not great. It's not stable because Bitcoin today is 13,000,
and tomorrow it's only 60,000, and it can be
types of currency. For example, Ethereum.
I don't know even about that.
Will be legalized.
So it's not stable. Why is it?
Because it's not money. Because of it, we cannot influence other countries. For example, if you are good for example, with Bitcoin, you cannot influence because they have development. Once but if you can't or but I want to see what just statistics.
Time is almost for your unmoderated vote.
Just
Take a seat.
just vote to us.
Order, please.
Honorable delegates, take your seats.
Dear delegates, please take your seats. This is a final call.
It's penalty. I agree with the chair.
Now that we have finished that unmoderated caucus, we are now going to move into the introduction of the resolution.
It should be controlled.
We didn't understand to legalize from many sides, websites that sell. So we should make one like central bank.
Sponsors for the resolution of legalizing cryptocurrency, Brazil and USA, you now have the floor for 2 minutes.
Aware of being on control of cryptocurrency, we believe that it should be not legalized. Believing that a cryptocurrency cannot be instead dollars, euros, and pounds. Confident that it's easy to use real currencies, not virtual. Deeper disturbed that Bitcoin increases the number of illegal transactions, guided by the information that has negative impact on every country's economy. Draw the attention that Bitcoin is not a stable currency. It's not a stable currency, that Bitcoin hasn't volatility. Remind that nobody controls Bitcoin. Further reminds that cryptocurrencies are difficult to understand. Emphasizing that there is a huge risk of losing investment. Proud that the day will come when the cryptocurrencies will fall.
So, dear honorable delegates, we think that cryptocurrency it can be a problem for whole the world. First, draw the attention that Bitcoin is not a stable currency. Yes, for example, it have a big volatility. Today, for example, a Bitcoin can be $2,000. Tomorrow, it can be $17,000. But after that, it can be again $3,000. When you buy something from market, you lose a lot of money when it's just will be a change. Yes, it will be a big volatility between them. Next, nobody controls bitcoins, cryptocurrency bitcoins. For example, if we think about dollars, pounds, and euros, if we lose, for example, our money, government and our country can help us. But when we talk about cryptocurrency, nobody helps us because nobody controls them. Today, even nobody knows who really created this Bitcoin. Only some facts about Satoshi or something like that. So, thank you for your attention.
Thank you, the sponsors of the 1.1 resolution. The sponsors for the resolution of 1.2, you may now have the floor for 2 minutes. The sponsors are Turkey and China. The International Monetary Fund, Turkey and China.
Okay, dear delegations, we are for legalizing cryptocurrency, and here we have some information and call for the development of cryptocurrencies regulating committee that would oversee the legality of activities. We are confirmed that will be regulation on cryptocurrency. It will be controlled. Cryptocurrencies can be stolen. It's impossible to repeat the code. And also, if value of cryptocurrency is changed often, it's not our problem. If people want to have it, let them have it and use. If cryptocurrencies will lose their value, it's their problem. We just only want to let them use. We want to legalize. It is a people's choice. Use it or not.
So calls for development of cryptocurrency that would oversee the legality of activities. So some of the delegates said that we will feel difficult and become bankrupt because of the changing of Bitcoin. But it's the same task like dollars. And we would create, if you want, we would create own cryptocurrency with our own value and regularity, because there are many types of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Lcoin, and Ethereum. My conclusion is that we cannot feel difficult in community with changing of Bitcoin.
So thank you for your attention.
Thank you. The sponsors of the 1.2 resolution, China and Turkey. Sponsors of resolution 1.3, Saudi Arabia, India, and Republic of Korea. You may now have the floor.
Only Republic of Korea.
Okay, for 2 minutes.
Dear delegates, we want to speak about to create one international committee to research and to analyze cryptocurrency, which will be one like central bank in full of the world. Okay, it's the solve of the problem, and
Okay, we think that legalizing cryptocurrency is a very bad idea, because if we have a cryptocurrency in the world, we don't have a we're not sure that our money is safe, because now worldwide system with the money is really good. The dollars, the currencies that have the world is a system that was checked by the experience of the countries, and they are okay. I think they should not change the currency right now.
So, having studied the subject, we decided to organize a subsection of Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund to centralize and control cryptocurrency transactions. These subsections should consist of 12 country members. 5 are appointed by the countries having the largest quotas: United States, Japan, Germany, France, and the United Kingdom. And other 7 are elected by regional groups of remaining members. This subsection of the Executive Board of the IMF will control and centralize cryptocurrencies transactions, will make a centralized united committee. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. The sponsors of 1.3 resolution. Delegate of China, you raise your placard.
Yeah, because against the rules, they couldn't be 3 sponsors, and they have against the rules.
The resolution 1.3 fails before voting because resolution 1.3 had more than 2 sponsors. Those of you in favor for the resolution 1.1, please raise your placards up high. Sponsors are Brazil and USA. Those of you in favor for the resolution 1.1, please raise your placards up high now. And the sponsors for the resolution 1.2, Turkey and China. Those of you in favor for the resolution 1.2, please raise your placards up high now. Now that we have majority votes for the resolution 1.2, the resolution 1.2 clearly passes. Sponsors are Turkey and China, Asliya, Tajikistan, Ukraine, Iran, Morocco. Thank you, dear delegates, for your time. Enjoy.